Hello, 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 wherever you are in the world. This is Kulmahay from Ignite Your Inner Potential. Hope you're well, guys. Hope you've had a great day and that you've managed to get through this week, which has been a really strange and challenging week. On Monday, there I was sitting in front of a group of members of staff, group of leaders at a university, delivering the first day of a leadership module that I developed and designed for this university, and everything was going fine. And then later on in the day they started having meetings around contingency planning for COVID-19 and business continuity. On day 2 I turned up on the Tuesday morning to deliver deliver day 2 of module 1, only to be told that the university had decided to suspend all staff training. So I had to think very, very quickly on that day, and I thought, okay, so how do I maintain the momentum that we've created in day 1 and continue that on into day 2? I know that both the HR people who had invited me in to deliver this training and design this training also were frustrated, as much as the delegates were, because they'd got so much value on day 1 that they wanted to continue it into day 2. But I had to think very quickly and be very, very adaptable to the changing circumstances. So there and then I decided that the rest of that module could be delivered online. So I got straight back home and I started creating all sorts of methodology and means in which we could deliver this remaining bit of the training online, and we've managed to do that. So I'm really happy that the delegates of that day were still getting that value. But I'm reminded as a week progresses, as a week goes on, and I'm watching the news. I rarely watch the news, but I feel I need to keep myself abreast of what's going on in the country and in the world regarding our response to coronavirus. But I'm also monitoring social media. Now, this is where the frustration comes in, because I'm seeing all sorts of things happening on social media that I think is a poor demonstration of leadership. People are posting up pictures of empty supermarket shelves, not realizing that that in itself will exacerbate the problem and cause people to get into this, what I call a panic mindset, and go rushing into the supermarkets and strip the remaining items off the shelf. That is not helpful. And actually that puts so many other people at risk. Those people who are particularly vulnerable at this moment in time, who won't be able to get the provisions in order for them to have the social sort of exclusion that they need and they're advised to get. So first and foremost, that needs to stop. We've been having a lot of updates from our government, and aside from any political differences, any leader in the position that the Prime Minister is in right now is in an extremely challenging situation. Not many prime ministers or leaders within countries will have experienced this kind of dynamically changing situation, environment of this magnitude, where they have to make decisions. So he's making some really tough decisions, and I have to say I've been impressed by where he's coming from and how he's dealing with the situation. At the same time, he's also got the challenge of keeping everybody appeased, keeping everyone happy, and keeping everyone calm in what is a very emotionally driven situation, because people are genuinely scared out there. My thanks and prayers go out to all of those involved in the public services, particularly those in the NHS, for the excellent work that they have done. They have, we talk about the NHS and we complain about the NHS so much, but it's at times like these where we see that this institution can raise its game to deliver a high quality of service. NHS is regarded as the #2 emergency care provider in the world when it comes to this level of sort of challenges, and they've done an excellent job. So I think we should give our praise, and our thoughts and our prayers should be with them and their families who won't be seeing them for doing the work that they're doing, and also for the risk that they're putting themselves in. I also want to have have a thought about the educators, you know, the teachers. Obviously Taj is a teacher, and I know that the exasperation and the frustration that they're feeling, that they can't educate our next generation. And there'll be a lot of parents out there who are so worried about what is going on in the world, and the fact that we've had the announcement that there won't be any exams this year, and so many of the results that the children will be getting will be based upon their predicted grades, which for some can be really, really challenging. Some of the children going to the schools, as I'm reminded so often by Taj, will be those children who are most at risk in society, those children whose families won't be able to afford food, those families who have come from difficult, challenging circumstances in their own private lives. I hope and wish that they get through this, and that I know the schools are stepping up. I've seen so much on social media from teachers who are offering support both online and offline to people so that they can continue to get their children educated even though they are being schooled from home. I've seen schools opening up their doors with free meals for those children who can't get those meals on a daily basis, or there's talk of children being given tokens so that they can get these tokens and get food in the supermarkets. All the more reason why we don't need to strip the supermarkets of the provisions that they've got. I've seen supermarkets and businesses rising to the challenge to keep their product supply chain bang up to date and speed it up if they possibly can, to make sure that there is food on the shelves. All of this reminds me of one word, and that one word is adaptability. Charles Darwin once wrote that it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that is the most adaptable to change. And very often when I'm dealing with leadership and I'm speaking to leaders, I very often talk about, we live in a VUCA world. It's a volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world. And if ever there was a demonstration of VUCAism, it's right now. We are living in very volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous times. Nobody really knows what's going to happen around the next corner, what's coming to us, what's going to blindside us. But everybody needs to be prepared for that eventuality. So what does being prepared mean for you? Well, if you are a parent, you have a family, then that means having enough provisions in your house to be able to have that social distancing, to keep your family safe, but also to leave stuff on the shelf so that other people can also benefit and be able to do that. If that is running your own business, it's about looking to see how can I possibly run my business and still make an impact and still deliver a quality service, but in a different way. If that is about you being in a home by yourself and feeling lonely, it's about understanding how can I now communicate with people? How can I reach out to people without causing a risk to myself and to other people, but still have that sort of social connection with society? That is being adaptable. And all of us, every single one of us in this country and across the world, has this responsibility to step up and become adaptable. See, the human psyche is such that we become resistant to change sometimes. And change is not something that we can cope with so easily. There is a model that I very often use when I talk about change to leaders, and I talk about the Kubler-Ross curve. And I talk about, when change is first introduced, people very often get stuck into this mixed emotion of anger, frustration, agitation or anxiety when they live through denial, and they think, well, this is not really going to happen. And we've seen this happening with the response to COVID-19. And eventually, when we see these things actually coming to the fore, we start going down on the dip, where we start feeling low, depressed, and even more anxious perhaps. And we get to what I call the valley of despair. We get to the very lowest of the low. And that's when our moods really change. And we make two choices here. We can either opt out, and opting out of society could mean, I don't know, for some it could be that they leave the country, or they go into complete isolation and never to speak to other people again. It could be that they disengage completely from social media, from the media. It could be that they get really angry and they start looting, or they start being very anti-society. It could mean all sorts of things, but it's that critical point at the valley of despair where we have a fundamental choice. We have a fundamental choice on whether we give up or whether we try to get used to this new life, to give it a go, if you like. And it has been proven time and time again with all sorts of change that when you start giving things an opportunity, then first you stumble along, you make mistakes because you're learning a new way of being. But eventually when you get used to that new sense of new normality, you come out and you operate at a very higher level. This is the basic fundamental of being on that change curve, of being adaptable to the changing circumstances in life. Now, the truth of it is, this new normality that we're experiencing right now is going to have a significant mindset shift on the way that we are going ahead. In the future, we will not think exactly like we did only a few months ago. In the future, we will think differently because we have had a significant global impact on humanity. I'm hoping that we end up thinking and realizing the power of genuine, authentic communication, that we understand how community should be at the very heart of what we are, to understand what values mean for us, and to learn and unlearn some of the bad lessons and learn some new habits going forward that are going to truly help us to be that connected society, connected community going forward. I hope it also teaches us some lessons that when it comes to some kind of a pandemic, a virus does not recognize caste, color, creed, or religion. It affects everybody. So hopefully this brings a world closer together going forward, where we understand that we are all vulnerable, but together, united, that's when we have true power for humanity. So I'm hoping that we get all of these lessons, but for this moment in time, every single one of us has a lesson to learn. We need to learn how to dance in the rain. We need to learn how to sway and move with the changing times. We need to become adaptable. So what does adaptability mean for you? Well, I've been working from home for the last few days. I'm not going anywhere. I've closed down all my corporate training. I have gone online. But my adaptability, an example of my adaptability would be this. Only today, I have had 2 conversations with corporate clients. We've looked to see how we can now create online content for the courses that I was going to create. And here's the thing, my corporate clients were more interested in having some of that. They still were interested in engaging in my services, albeit we're now talking about online. We talked about online in a sense that it was so much different from the e-learning that we used to have when I was in the police service. We talked about online that was connected, that was interactive, and that was live. I've also been contacted by a third client who's interested in engaging in my services, and I'm hoping to finalize that contract over the next week. So guys, it's not the end of the world is the point that I'm making. That if we are adaptable, we can still survive and thrive in this world. We just need to change this mindset that we have. We need to move away from how things always were and be prepared to live in a world how things could be. And that is the challenge for every single one of us. That is the challenge. And the question really remains, are you willing to step up to that challenge? I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Coco from Igniting Your Potential. Please do feel free to reach out to me at any time. And if you want to know how you can be more adaptable, this is not a sales pitch, by the way. If you want to learn genuinely how to be more adaptable in your business, irrespective of whatever your business is, in your home, in your life, however it might be, then please drop me a message. I'm at home. So, I am answering all my messages and I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much. God bless and stay safe. Bye-bye.